must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
A strong commitment to boosting domestic manufacturing, President Uhuru Kenyatta has launched several flagship manufacturing projects under the Big Four agenda. The blend of manufacturing projects launched by the President cut across various manufacturing subsectors, including agro-processing, pharmaceutical industry, textile and leather industries, vehicle assembly, iron and steel, ICT, as well as oil, mining and gas industry. Among some of the key manufacturing projects that President Uhuru Kenyatta has recently launched and which are aimed at contributing significantly to job creation include the 4 billion Kenya shillings worth light weapons manufacturing plant at Ruiru, the plant which has estimated production capacity of 12,000 assault rifles is poised to source up to 60% of its raw materials locally, creating a huge market for domestic producers. In April 2021, President Uhuru Kenyatta presided over the launch of nanotechnology and semiconductor manufacturing facility at Dedan Kimathi University. Kenya's maiden entry into the nanotechnology industry underscored the President's grand foresight for the country. According to the industry insiders, global semiconductor and nanotechnology industry is bound to increase multiple-fold in the next few years as demand for artificial intelligence continues to grow exponentially.
This is going to be the future for us to be able to now make our own motherboards, and from making our own motherboards to making our own television sets, to making our own mobile telephones. These are all new opportunities that are all going to be created from this seemingly very small but very critical foundation towards our manufacturing agenda for our republic.
Also significant in a series of manufacturing projects launched by President Uhuru Kenyatta is opening of the Kenya Shipyard Limited in Kisumu City. The President officially opened the ship building and repair yard in May 2021. The facility has yards both in Kisumu and Mombasa and is expected to ramp up building of new ships and repair of the existing ones to cope up with the demands for water transport within the Great Lakes region. The facility is also expected to create direct and indirect jobs to the local populations. Both bilateral and public-private partnerships remains vital in ensuring Kenya achieves its manufacturing growth goals as projected in the Big Four agenda, and Kenyans should continue supporting these flagship projects as they portend a better socio-economic growth now and in the future. To you, and thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. This is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Mogutu, and it is a pleasure to have you on board as usual. I'll take us through the headlines this morning on the leading newspapers, and then I'll bring in my panelists and we'll have some conversations around some of those topics that we have today on our papers. And we start with the Star newspaper. The main headline, Musalia buys, Paul cards, Sakaja takes lead role, ANC leader in quiet dismay of financial muscle as he plans to launch his State House bid. The story is on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. Then up there, Ruto will be the 5th president, says Governor Anne Waiguru. The story is on page 7 of the Star newspaper. And then we head on to the Standard newspaper. The main headline, Ruto allies go for top Uhuru men. And then brave athlete begins fight for rights of women in sport. The story is on page 3. Governor sue senators amid extortion claims. The story is on page 11. And tea farmers lose 6 billion Kenya shillings at auction. The story is on page 25. And DP defender in fake paper court. A dilemma. Sudi has always described DP's rivals as fake, but yesterday a court was told that his KCSA and diploma certificate presented to IEBC in 2013 were fake. The story is on page 4 of the Star newspaper. The main headline on the Daily Nation, Uhuru Raila delay Nairobi campaigns. The story is on page 5. Hospitals and up in arms over NHIF's new dialysis rates. The story is on the back page. And regions where campaigns cost an arm and a leg. Western and Nyanza, the most expensive regions to run campaigns in, as one senator admits to spending up to 1 million Kenya shillings. The story is on page 4. Mudavadi promises to cut debt, jumpstart economy. You'll find that on page 6 of the Daily Nation. And Mudavadi Kalonzo Cold War. Also, that will be a story on tomorrow's Daily Nation. Unequal pay angers ECD teachers. The story is on page 12. And Jubilee downplays Waiguru's defection. Only Waiguru defected, and she did it because she is personally unable to do her politics herself. She needs it done for her by others. That is what Nyeri Town Member of Parliament Ngunjiri Wambugu said yesterday. So I'd like to bring in my panelists at this point. We do have joining us this morning, Daniel Wesonga from Nairobi is a special correspondent. Daniel, nice to have you this morning, and a very good morning to you. All right, as we wait for Daniel there to join, we also do have Sharon Gitonga. Gitonga, very good morning to you.
Thank you very much, Miriam, and a very good morning to you back at the headquarters in Nairobi, and to my colleague panelists, Samuel Tawish and Daniel Wesong, and to all our viewers watching us this morning, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, across the country and across the continent at large. Good morning.
Good morning. Very well, thank you. And also Samuel Tawish. Tawish, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam Ogutu. Good morning, Sharon Gitonga, as well as Sean Wesonga, and all our viewers watching this program in Africa and the rest of the world. My pleasure to join you on this program. Good morning, Miriam.
A very good morning. I'm enjoying very good Kenyan tea. If you're watching out there and you're looking for a good tea, Kenyan tea, that will be your tea. It's very nice. Okay, so now regions where campaigns cost an arm and a leg. Western and Nyanza, the most expensive regions to run campaigns, as one senator admits to spending about 100 million. So why is it that Western and Nyanza would be the place that they happen to spend so much when it comes to their campaigns? Before you even get into the details, Tawish, why do you think this is the case?
Thank you so much, Miriam. I think what has occasioned this particular likelihood that the politicians are using so much in the campaigns is because, first and foremost, it's because of the dominance of political parties, various political parties in that region. That is why you see when we get into nomination, people scramble for party tickets, and afterwards again you'll find that people have gotten alternative tickets really to contest for various political or elective seats. For example, if you are to go to Nyanza and in particular say Siaya or Kisumu or Homa Bay or Migori, a person has to campaign vigorously really to get an ODM ticket, because they know it's an almost a sure bet for them. Once they get an ODM ticket, really they will be able to clinch that particular seat. So it becomes like a case of more of do and die for them, first of all, to secure the ODM ticket in those regions. But again, after securing the ticket, also you'll find the opponents having maybe secured alternative party tickets or even gone as independent candidates. In itself also poses a very great challenge in terms of using finances. And I think there's also a culture of giving people handouts or incentives to, if you may like, incentives to voters, really to persuade them to your side of the political divide. Because again, people have been used to be given something small for them.
An incentive, ni bribe. So you just call it what it is.
That is how the politicians call it, because they decide to give it a good name, so that by the end of the day, you don't get them in wrong books. I know we may call it a bribe or an inducement for people to vote for them, but for them, the time it is something like an incentive, something that encourages someone to go and vote for them. So, or is a facilitation kind of for someone to go and vote for them. So, Miriam, when you look into all these factors, by the end of the day, of course, other factors constant, for example, printing of T-shirts, doing advertisements in radio print, and also maybe in televisions, and also trying to just carry out the campaign in itself to facilitate your agents. And so much of that, Miriam, it really costs a fortune. So by the end of the day, when you come back and do your math, you get that at least you've coughed a lot of money, sometimes even without knowing, Miriam.
Okay. All right. You call it facilitation fee, mobilization fee, incentive. But unfortunately, that has played out in how people have decided to go register as voters, because they're sitting and they're waiting for somebody to come give them an incentive. That is sad. Sharon?
Thank you very much, Miriam, for that question. And indeed, it actually speaks volume as to why we have, a very huge voter apathy, and especially when it comes to people going out to, to play the role of, for voter mass registration. I think the major issue is exactly what Tawish has said when it comes to handouts, and it's quite unfortunate that we've actually made our politics to be, capitalized. And this is actually really playing a big role, because people believe you have to give them something for them to actually turn up to vote, and which is, quite very unfortunate. And it's a culture that we've actually developed. And I think it's high time maybe we check into some policies, because if I look at countries, rather devolved countries like the likes of Rwanda, if you're actually caught, dishing out handouts, you actually disqualified. So there's also that part of, some agencies like IEBC that can actually play, because it's actually in the limelight. We know that, actually politicians mobilize people in handouts. And there was actually a case the other day in Tito Andei where teachers were actually almost being, lynched by a very angry mob because of 1 million that had been, been issued in Tito Andei. And we all know the politician that was there at that particular time. So this whole scenario is a very using their emotions, or whoever leader that actually gives them more money as compared to even voting using their brains. So this, goes a very long way even to voters, as you pick handouts and, continue receiving empty promises. And then when things, turn out as, what you do not expect, especially with these leaders, you start pointing fingers to the same people that you have brought in office. So I think there's a point of changing our policies, and it also trickles down to us as voters, especially when right now when political stakes are very high, and everyone is trying to fit in, and those who have actually financial muscle may tend to actually win the day. So I think voters, we also have a big part to play. Thank you.
There are the stories on page 4 of the Daily Nation. As politicians hit the campaign trail ahead of next year's polls, focus is shifting to the cost of campaigns, given the grueling schedules. Deputy President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga have combed the country on back-to-back tours, which require elaborate logistical planning and resources. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission's $4.4 billion Kenya shillings campaign is a pointer to the enormous resources the hopefuls are burning, but a study to expenditure by politicians in the last polls offers even better insights. Winning candidates spend as much as 3 times the losers, suggesting electoral seats go to the highest spenders, with Western and Nyanza the most expensive regions to run campaigns in. So the much you spend, the much you stand a high possibility of being elected.
Miriam,
never mind your policies and agenda
Miriam, I think there was a political parties fund that was actually thwarted by the MPs. I don't know what exactly happened, because I think it would have gone a long way, especially to ensure that, you know, we have inclusivity of, you know, anyone who's aspiring to be a leader. So the fund is something that also needs to really be looked into.
Okay, and as we speak about Manning's financial, the money spent, the campaign money spent during the electioneering period, like we've seen right now, it has been happening, and it will even go higher as we get closer to August 2022. I'm reminded of that member of parliament from, I think, Meru, who spent nothing. I think he used to just walk around and talk to people, and by him just telling people what he was going to do, he was able to convince them, and he was very young. I don't know what became of him, but that is a very good example that you don't have to spend much, but unfortunately that is not the case in majority of times. Daniel Wasonga. All right, so I'll take it. Wasonga is not there. All right, okay. Yeah, so I'll just go back to Tawish.
Miriam, I suppose this was more of like an exaggerated case, because I can tell you quite for sure, Miriam, that personally I've been up and down, of course, in the campaign trails in this politics for quite some time, at least as far as I've been in this profession. And I can tell you for sure, it really cost a fortune for someone really to be able to just run a campaign, especially for a parliamentary